I'm Jeff Matlow. Welcome to the best leadership podcast ever. Welcome back to the best leadership podcast ever. It is so great to have you here. I always love seeing your face, even if it's just with my eyes closed and imagining you sitting there. My name's Jeff Matlow. I'm a three-time entrepreneur. I'm a leadership coach. I help transform teams into highly productive collaborative units. When you're ready to catapult your productivity, reach out to me, leadership@bytitleonly.com. But enough of that. What I want to talk about today is addiction. Because you know what I just learned? I learned that Oreos are as addictive as cocaine. It sounds crazy, I know, but it's true. At least according to a study conducted at Connecticut College, it's true, and that's kind of good enough for me. They found that Oreos and similar high-fat, high-sugar foods stimulate the brain in the same place and in the same way as highly addictive drugs like morphine and cocaine. Does this mean you have to give up your 2 sleeves a day Oreo habit? That's not exactly what I'm saying. You do you if that's what you want to do. What I am saying is that whether or not you binge on Oreos and whether or not you're driven to drugs or alcohol, you still most likely have unhealthy addictions. You probably don't even realize your addictions, but it's okay because I do. And I, my friend, am your intervention, and the intervention is happening right now. But before we get there, let me remind you what it means to be addicted to something. Now, I'm not going to bore you with the biology of addiction because, frankly, you don't want to hear it and I don't want to explain. What we are going to talk about, however, are the ways that addiction manifests itself. Oh, and you're going to want to remember these manifestations because it will help you understand your addiction when we get to that later. So take notes. The 4 ways addiction manifests itself are 1, loss of control. So when you're addicted to something, you have a hard time controlling the engagement with that addictive something. It controls you. And number 2, compulsivity. You'll have sudden urges to engage in that addictive substance, and when you do so, it leads to less time spent on more important parts of your life. Number 3, increased tolerance. The greater the addiction, the more frequently and heavily you engage in the behavior. And number 4, withdrawal symptoms. When you abruptly stop the addictive behavior, you're pretty darn distressed and just want it back. That's addiction, those 4 things. So now let's bring this pony over to your stable and talk about your addiction. Now, I'm not sure what you do in your spare time. For all I know, you have an unhealthy relationship with NyQuil. Maybe you have a gummy bear habit, or perhaps you're a carboholic. But we're not talking about those behaviors today. Today, we're going to discuss the addictions you have at work. Now, before you shut this down and spit in my face, which isn't nice, work addictions aren't just limited to working a massive amount of hours. Work addictions manifest themselves in different ways. So I'm not going to say stop working 50 hours. That's not what this is about. You see, there are actually 6 types of addictive personalities when it comes to work. There's 6 different ways addiction manifests itself there. Question is, which ones most define you? Let's have a look-see, shall we? The first one is the chaos addict. Some people believe that they're most productive when everything feels like it's falling apart. They procrastinate, they back themselves into corners, and they make things more complicated than they need to be. It's all because they're addicted to chaos. That's the chaos addict. Number 2, the overcommitment addict. Some people say yes to anything anybody asks them. They're addicted to feeling needed. Inevitably, they take on so many things that all the spinning plates end up crashing to the ground in a shattering of self-hatred and broken promises. And number 3, the perfect addict. See, the perfectionist tweaks and tweaks and tweaks, and when they're done doing that, they tweak some more. Perfection is the addiction, and it's a high that they will never be able to attain. Instead, it just leads to missed deadlines and the destruction of team progress. Number 4, the inbox addict. Listen, the email struggle is real. It's the single most common addiction of all workers. In fact, 84% of workers keep their email application open and notifications notifying them while they work throughout the day. The average worker checks their email every 2 to 6 minutes. Insane. The inbox addiction means you're avoiding the work that actually moves the needle. You're avoiding the important things. Number 5, the control addict. In my leadership coaching business, I come across a lot of people who are addicted to control. But rarely does the control addict think they are a micromanager, usually because they have a tough time delegating. They need to feel like they're the most capable person in the room, and that's the hallucinogen of a control addiction. In the end, they stay buried in work and leave a team that actually never learns or grows. And finally, the good old workaholic addict. Some people genuinely don't know how to stop working. They just don't know what else to do with their lives. To most people, a 14-hour workday is a frustrating but really rare requirement. For the addict, it's a badge of honor. They'll pretend to complain, but in reality, they thrive on the absence of a work-life balance. Eventually, their team just gets frustrated and quits. So that's the 6 types of addictive personalities: the chaos addict, the overcommitment addict, the perfect addict, the inbox addict, the control addict, and the workaholic addict. And here's the thing: addiction doesn't just impact you, it impacts all the people around you. And the first step is admitting it. It's a really important step, and one that can be quickly overcome with the right leadership coach. Nudge, nudge, hint, hint. The second step is understanding how it's impacting your life and the life of your colleagues. This is where the intervention begins. When you know the type of addict you are, consider the 4 ways it's manifesting itself. See, I told you these would be important. Loss of control. How is the addiction controlling your behavior? Compulsivity. In what ways is the addiction keeping you from doing the most important things you should be doing? Tolerance. How is your addictive behavior progressively worsening? Withdrawal. If you try to stop the behavior, what's the discomfort you feel emotionally, mentally, physically, whatever? Maybe it's worth a second here to remind you that you are good enough, you are smart enough, and gosh darn it, you matter. You don't need constant fires to prove you're valuable. You don't need to say yes to everything to feel needed. And you don't need 14-hour workdays to feel important. So what are you going to do today to put down the proverbial Oreos and break the cycle? Let the intervention begin, my friend. Send me a note. I'd love to know which addiction you struggle with and what you're trying to do to change it. I'm at leadership@bytitleonly.com. And if any of this resonates with you, you want to have a chat, reach out to me. Again, I'd love to talk. I love meeting new people. Thanks again for listening. I appreciate you, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.